Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to talk about the all new Sonlight preschool program. I'm very excited that, of course, I have Sarita, the founder and president of Sonlight, with us to talk a little bit more about why Sonlight added it and why preschool is important. And then we also have Emme Kim with us. Emme is one of our Sonlight curriculum consultants. You might have seen her at conventions, but here's the other thing. She played a huge part in updating the preschool program. So Emme, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'd love to. Um, so Stephanie said, I'm Emmy Kim. I am a mom of three girls, three beautiful girls. They are 18, 16, and 12. My oldest is in her first year of college at Baylor University and is enjoying it tremendously. So we're really excited about that and thankful for Sonlight's role in her college experience. My younger two are still at home being homeschooled. I have a wonderful husband. We've been married for 22 years. And so we're just still plugging away with homeschooling. And so we've been enjoying that a lot. As for my educational background, way back when I studied biopsychology at UCLA and had originally planned to go into public health, but felt that God was leading me to work with children in ministry and education of some format. So then I went to Fuller Seminary. I got a master's in theology with a concentration in children's ministry. Soon after that, discovered Montessori as a method of education. I was so intrigued with that method of education that I went ahead and got certified and was blessed to be able to teach in different schools for about 7 years. I also had an opportunity to supervise interning teachers at the training school that I worked at. So
Very good. Well, we are grateful that you helped us update this. So let's talk a little bit about preschool in general. The preschool program is really designed, and for any preschool program, it's really designed to help you start your child in the learning process, right? So we are not, it's no pressure, it's not fully planned,
right.
specifically do everything and check every box. But we do have a really good outline to help you sort of guide you through the process. So Sarita, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you created the preschool levels in general at Sonlight?
Very interesting. We actually added preschool after we had finished K through 12th grade. And it happened really kind of as a grassroots kind of a thing. I believed, of course, in reading to kids as a child. I remembered great stories from my childhood. I remember Captain Kangaroo reading, Caps for Sale. I mean, it was one of those I remembered forever. And my husband remembered Make Way for Ducklings because his grandmother had sent him the title because she lived in Boston. So it was one of those where books were kind of part of our heritage, so that when my kids were little, my husband read to our kids every evening. It was one of those where we'd go to the library and pick up 50 books at a time, and he would just sit on the couch with them. And my children had such a great heritage, such a gift that he gave them. And they have just really great memories of just sitting on the couch, really huddled up right around him and just reading through tons of stories. So they read everything from Miss Nelson is Missing to the beautiful Peter Spear books. I mean, they just read a whole host of different titles. So fast forward a couple of decades, and then my daughter wanted to do the same kind of a thing with her sons because she had such good memories of all of that. She came to me and she said, "Mom, I cannot find good books to read to my children. The libraries had kind of cleaned out a lot of the older titles, and whatever it was, she just couldn't find." She said, "They're either so poorly written, or they're just ugly illustrations, or they just have too many noise words in them, or they couldn't keep her son's attention." And I thought, well, of course we want to offer that to every mom that's out there, right? My passion is to make education easy, right? So if I can figure out a way to pull together a great collection of books so moms don't have to try to go and sift through just piles of not so great books, would I be able to pull together an affordable and something that's got a lot of great titles in there and great value? And that's always been kind of my goal, make sure everything's that the families could own and that their kids could go back to. Because again, how many stories do your children ask you to read again and again and again, right? So if I could get a pile of books that would be useful in that particular way, I thought that would be great. I also wanted to find books that would give kids the cultural literacy that they need. The stories that they actually need to know, the gingerbread boy and a Simba story of Cinderella. I mean, if you hear somebody say, well, that was a Cinderella story, you need the cultural literacy that says, I actually understand what that term even means, right? So that was part of our goal, to pull together a collection of great books that gave kids the collection of literacy that they needed. And honestly, I think we've actually accomplished that in this whole program. I think you can even talk about it educationally, that this program does what a good preschool program should do. Kids learn in vocabulary. There's been all kinds of studies done about how children's literature uses really, really advanced and dramatic vocabulary. And they can do that because with pictures, kids can understand what's going on in the story, right? So so they can build all kinds of great vocabulary just by sitting and reading with your children. And it's one of those skills that comes up on the SAT, and it's places that you need vocabulary, even for sounding like an educated person. So you can gain good vocabulary. You can get those important pre-reading skills. Studies have also shown that you need 10,000 hours of being read to just before your kids are to just build that pre-reading skill. And it's one of those where I think, well, if we can help parents read by making it easy, giving them great books to read, helping their children to just read, how much can we help even with those pre-reading skills? We can build their cultural literacy. Absolutely critical in the education of your children to understand, what happened and why the things come up as they do. To have them enjoy beautiful illustrations from a young age, not just look at cartoons or whatever it might be, but to actually appreciate beautiful books that are out there. That's a goal. To increase their education span. If we think about our children's ability to focus on things, reading aloud to them builds that in a way like nothing else. So if we can do that for our students and for our families, that's a really great thing to do. Improve their listening ability. As you have kids listen to stories, they just are able to listen in a way, again, that you can't build in any other way. So it's one of those things we can really help our students with this as well. And this year, thanks to Emme, we're developing key motor skills, and we'll talk more about that. And that's one of those things that also is something we've lacked in the past and we've added at this point, and it's going to be a great thing. 3-year-olds, these little 3-year-olds, they need time with their parents. They need time reading and enjoying books together. And our program actually helps them do that. You'll have a home library full of great things that they can read together that your kids will come to again and again. It's one of those investments in your kids' future that you actually don't want to miss out on.
Absolutely. So we've had the preschool program at Sonlight for a while. What encouraged us to why did we update it?
It actually came about because Emme approached us. It was one of those where, while we've always had beautiful picture books and always had glorious things for kids to learn, she felt she could help us improve the program. She made us a proposal, and we said, boy, that actually would strengthen this program. So let's work together on this and let's see what we can come up with. So Emme, take it away.
Yeah.
So to that,
Yeah.
what is, the new program is a Montessori approach.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about the style and how it improves the Sonlight preschool program.
Yeah, I would just say, just as a little background information for Montessori, in case somebody isn't familiar, it really was founded by Dr. Maria Montessori in the early 1900s, and is really based on self-directed activity, hands-on learning, and collaborative type of play within a social environment. And so one of the aspects of Montessori that I really love is the fact that it emphasizes a really I can do this perspective. For a 3 and 4-year-old, I think that that's huge. I think for anybody who's starting to learn something new, like even as an adult, we need to feel like we can do it. Just that little boost of like knowledge that yes, I can do this. For 3 and 4-year-old, they're learning so many new things at that point. So this type of environment, this type of Montessori structured environment, or these opportunities really kind of pave the way for a 3 and 4-year-old in particular, just to know that they can do so many things. They can cut a banana, they can wash and dry their dishes, they can put things away where they go, they can be responsible and feel confident in themselves and in what they're learning. So that's kind of some of the reasoning that went into adding or supplementing the current program with some of these Montessori materials. Like I had just mentioned, practical life is one of those things where those attributes are fostered, the sense of independence and confidence through practical life. They're learning how to cut fruits and vegetables. They're learning how to wash and dry their dishes. They're learning how to pour water. And parents can go ahead and expand that into whatever areas that they feel like they can in their home. They can teach them, other things around the house as well. But we've just kind of laid the backdrop, sort of, made it easy for parents to not have to think about things and just have it scheduled out for you.
Mhm. And I think that is one of those things that we've added this year, thanks to Emme. She recommended that we actually provide a schedule. In the past, we've always done a list of the different stories, what we called a little parent's guide, maybe. I don't remember even what it's called, but it was basically a listing of the stories to read and a recommended schedule to do them in, where we started with some of the easier stories and progressed through some of the tougher stories with the recommendation that parents reread as often as their kids wanted. So this year we've added an actual schedule, and it ends up being 3 days a week. So it's very, very doable and very approachable, very manageable. And we do it for 30 weeks rather than the normal, what we do in regular schooling days, which is 36 weeks. And it includes, the program includes all of the activities that we had in our previous little parent guide. So we haven't taken anything away. We've just really, really added to it. We've always had Bible readings, but what we've done this year as well, we've shown our parents the modeling of how to teach their children, right? So we've added little questions to the Bible readings, things like that help kids focus their attention on what they've read. And Emmy added little prayers that we can show parents. Doesn't have to be hard, doesn't have to be difficult. This is what we recommend that you do with your children when you do Bible reading. It's beautifully done, and she did a beautiful job on that. And I think our parents will really, really appreciate it. We've added different activities, both for pre-reading, pre-writing, and pre-math. Things we hadn't had before. We didn't think it was, we couldn't figure out how to do it. So Emmy, with the Montessori method, has added different things where they use little different cards to teach kids the letters and the sounds of the letters and how to recognize them. So they're getting them ready for that very important skill that they pick up in kindergarten, where they actually learn how to read. The pre-writing teaches kids how to hold a pencil and how to write the different letters, and they show it and they model that all in the IG that we have there. And pre-math, where we're actually showing kids how to do the numbers and how to connect that to actual physical objects so that the kids actually see all those kinds of things. It's going to be a super useful tool, and I think our moms will really love how the Montessori method makes that so easy and approachable. We've also added foreign language. Studies have shown that when kids pick up a foreign language at a younger age, it just sticks in their minds so much easier and so much more useful. So we added a little Spanish book with just Spanish words and pictures just to connect it all in the minds of the students. But we added an audio for our moms who maybe don't speak Spanish so that they can actually do it in an appropriate manner, right? So it's one of those where, again, we always want to make parents empowered and ready and able to do whatever they need to do. We added science, which we've not had in our pre-K program. So we added a little book on animals and on how the body functions. So it's one, again, we're just modeling what education will look like in the future. And as you go through the program, it's easy to do. Emmy found also music. She scheduled different songs for the kids to learn and to sing, and scheduled them each week. So each week the kids have another new song that they can sing. Kudos, Emmy, those were great. And I thought they were super fun that you had found. And then finally, she, like Emmy mentioned, that she added a lot of activities. And those increase in difficulty over the course of the year. So when the kids first start, they start with cutting with, and we found a safe knife. So the kids learn how to cut a banana and different things over the course of the year. And they play with the different textures. And there's lots of fine motor skills that they've built over the years. Everything from knife cutting to cutting with the scissors and drawing and playing with Play-Doh. And it's the practical skills. Emmy mentioned washing your dishes, but she's sweeping and cooking and pouring. I just think our kids are going to just be so empowered and so ready. So kudos, Emmy, way to go. Did you have things to add to that list?
I think you covered just about all of it. I just wanted to piggyback on what Sarita was saying, that it really is a wonderful, just in addition to the wonderful collection of read alouds that are already in the program. This is just supplementing with some of those hands-on things that we were talking about with those, like she said, the pre-reading, the pre-writing, and the pre-math, and a lot of these practical life skills and some of these, the geometric shapes that they're tracing are really reinforcing that pincher grip and strengthening their fine motor coordination in preparation for writing skills later. I think that everything that Sarita mentioned is what's included in the program. It was what I was going to share as well, and so really it's a very well-rounded program. I think that the kids are going to really, really enjoy it, and it's going to foster a lot of great learning for this age group, especially.
And all of those tools are included in the package as well. So you get the books and some of those tools you guys were mentioning.
Yes, you'll get all those books. You will have the instructor's guide, as Sarita mentioned, that's scheduled out for you. You will have sandpaper letters from A to Z, sandpaper numerals from 1 to 10. You will have cards and counters from 1 to 10. And all of these are scheduled out so that it progresses in level of difficulty over the year. And you can basically take it at your pace and at your child's pace. There's geometric insets for tracing. There's 10 shapes that progresses over time. There's a child safety knife, child scissors with templates for cutting strips of different levels of difficulty, and some basic art materials and sheets for tracing as well.
So talk to me a little bit about what a day might look like with the Sonlight Preschool.
So like we said, it's a 3-day schedule for 30 weeks. And so it's a lighter program. It gives you the flexibility to use like all the different wonderful books and materials with the guidance that you'll need to really build some of those pre-reading, pre-writing, and pre-math skills, as well as listening skills, the cultural literacy, and the communication and conversational skills that preschoolers really need at this age. You can use the schedule basically whatever way works best for you. In a Montessori environment, it really is, just a lot of freedom to move, a lot of freedom to choose. And so, so you have that freedom here as well. I might suggest that you maybe start with a Bible devotional in the day, move on to some of the scheduled read alouds for that day, maybe pick up the Spanish words that are scheduled out for those 2 weeks. And then go to the table and lay out some of the materials that are for that week, and let your child choose which one they want to start with, and kind of let the morning flow like that.
So let's talk a little bit about why preschool is important and how it prepares your child for hopefully a lifelong love of learning.
You want to start us, Emmy?
Sure. I just feel like, the preschool years, especially between the ages of 3 to 6, I feel like they're so absorbent. Their minds are so absorbent. They're like little sponges, and they're sponges from 0 to 3 years of age as well. But it's a little bit more unconscious absorption. They're sort of unconsciously taking in their environment, hearing, language, acquiring language, observing colors and shapes and things like that. But between the ages of 3 to 6, it really is more of a conscious learning. They're a little more intentional about what they're choosing to learn, choosing to find out about where their curiosity is leading them, and they're developing more memory skills. They're reinforcing skills that they previously learned, and they're really building on a foundation to come for later skills. And so Montessori calls it the absorbent mind for preschoolers. It really is the perfect time to engage them. And so, really activating their five senses. They're listening to the wonderful read alouds, they're listening to the literature, the speech, the language, the communication skills, and they're learning empathy through the stories, learning how to connect with people in different situations, and understanding how somebody else in how you would feel in somebody else's shoes. And so emotionally, spiritually, they're learning as well through the Bible devotionals and through the stories, but they're also activating their sense of touch, their tactile sense through the hands-on materials. They're smelling and tasting their food that they're cutting and sharing it, and learning courtesy and grace by sharing, with their family members, and responsibility by taking care of their things, washing and drying their dishes, helping mom, putting things away where they should go. And so all of this is just being incorporated at this age. I think that it just helps kind of set the stage for your child to feel successful, lifelong sense of accomplishment, a sense of like, I can do this, like I said earlier, just feeling like I can do many things, and these things just keep building and growing as I go. And so, to me, I think that these years are important for those reasons.
And I think you're totally right on. I know when I would read to my kids, I always would, run my finger down the one, and then we'd count. This is a one dog. And you run it by the two. It's just it's a normal part of just teaching kids to read. I think this is just such a foundational time by teaching kids that books are important, that spending time reading together is one of those things that we do as a family because it's just significant. We don't need at this point workbooks or little flashcards. We just want to spend time showing our kids that reading is a pleasurable thing. It's time for reading and playing, and preschool is just one of those times when we can build on their natural curiosity, and they can learn about their world in ways that they need to be prepared for in the future. That they can see learning as a fun and pleasurable and exciting kind of a thing that's going to happen. I think too, if we start with preschool, they get to see us as a source of knowledge, a source of comfort, and where they look to us as instructors, even at this very, very foundational and beginning age. We can give our kids that strong foundation that they need for the future. If you have little ones at this point in time, be encouraged. The things you're doing are important and strategic, and building into them for the long-term future. You're building memories that last forever. I have great memories of sitting and reading stories with my mom. I mean, who doesn't want that kind of a memory in their past, right? You're building their favorite stories. So if you read their favorite story a 7th time or a 70th time, you're building structure and framework into their lives. These are all very, very good things that you can do. So preschool is just a foundational and getting ready for the education that's coming. So kudos.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit of the fun part. What are you most excited about for the new program?
Emme, go first.
This is a hard question. I feel like there's there's a lot that's great about this program, but I think just the thing just overall, I love that it's so multifaceted. I feel like it has a lot to offer, that it hits on a lot of important notes for preschoolers, and that it's going to meet a lot of needs. It's going to address, like we were talking about, the wonderful reading and supplement with all of the hands-on and some of those early writing, reading, and math skills. And so it's really going to be just an awesome program for preschoolers. I'm just excited for parents and families to use it, really.
Of course, my favorite part is always the books. My favorite part, just having a chance to read with your children is just a huge privilege. But I think the structure is going to be really helpful for our moms to know what to do every day, but still to have the flexibility to adjust. Wow, that's totally, I think moms are going to feel like that's just a huge boon and a real blessing. And I think ultimately it shows and it demonstrates to every mom that's out there that homeschooling is not hard. I think we can say, I successfully homeschooled my children, and look at the things that they've learned. And I want moms to always know that they are more than able and capable of homeschooling their children. So if they gain that from this program, glory, couldn't be more grateful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for joining me. I appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing all of what our customers think about the new program. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.